and all this time you tested negative. I mean, what was the landlord's decision for throwing you out?
As she stated on the text that she sent me, it was that the police and the community do not want foreigners in the neighborhood that I'm living. My neighbors are Russian. They did not get tested, but they were also told to move out, but they did not get tested, and so did not my colleagues who are from the United States and from Europe. They did not get tested, and they're currently not under quarantine.
There are some reports and also visuals that we've seen here in South Africa. I'm not sure if you could confirm or deny any of what we've seen in terms of the picture that is being painted. We've seen some visuals on social media, some videos of, some Nigerian nationals and others as well, whose suitcases are basically in the street and they have nowhere to go. Do you know of any individuals who are stuck and have absolutely nowhere to go?
Yes, I do.
So China has chosen to be a problem of two crises: coronavirus and hatred. Let's get into it and let's find out why it is like that. Okay. Greetings and welcome back to COVID-19 Reviewed, and this one is a fascinating topic because the rest of the topics that you have been debating have been regarded and treated with a quotation fake news. This one, I don't know what they are saying now because it's coming out of the very medias that have been labeling other theories as fake, but this one right now is coming right from media whom they regard as the media that gives reliable news. And China has chosen to pass hatred to other nationalities, especially Africa. And do you know why it is dangerous for China to pass this kind of hatred towards Africa? We are going to talk about this one because this one is going to be a very big problem upon China if they really have chosen to pass hatred towards Africa. It seems so far, in as far as we are concerned thus far, China's life depends on Africa. And what will happen if you seal the source of your life? It's a matter of debate, is it? Never. It's not a matter of debate. It means huge consequences if they have chosen that route. And in this regard, they are saying Africans are bringing imported, mark that word, imported coronavirus cases to China. How did coronavirus got to Europe? How did coronavirus got to Africa? How did coronavirus got to Germany? How did coronavirus got to America? It all was imported from where? From China. And today they are now passing a blame on Africans that they have imported coronavirus to China. Stop joking. Let's stop this mess. Let's stop these jokes, okay? Is this not a provocation being passed upon other nationalities for the problems that you created? Now, what do you want other nations to think now? What do you want other nations to...
From where you are, is this behavior just towards South Africans or towards Africans in general from what you have seen?
From what I have seen, on Sunday and Monday when we were talking, it was just South Africans as far as being tested that I know of. But eventually, a few friends of mine that I know that are not South African but African did come out as well saying they got tested too. And some of them are at the hotel as well, doing the quarantine at the hotel as well. But
how do you want them to treat you now? Because it started like theories. The coronavirus began from animals. The coronavirus came from things like seafood, those, yeah? Coronavirus should have escaped from the laboratories in Wuhan. But if you now come back to say these people are importing the infections into your country, what are you trying to say? And here, right now, if you look at the news, it is actually coming out of SABC, Al Jazeera, BBC, and other medias that the Chinese foreign officials, foreign minister has said they do not know about these allegations coming out that Africans are being mistreated. These medias are saying they have denied, they have rejected. You should understand what it means when a particular institution has chosen to reject something. They are saying it's absolutely lies. They don't know about that, and they are, in other words, trying to say it has never happened in China. But unfortunately, thanks to goodness, on SABC, a lady was interviewed live by the South African media, and she was explaining every piece of bad things happening in China in as far as treating of Africans is concerned. But a government is saying that's fake, that's not true. But in this regard, in this actual interview of this woman coming out of SABC, she is implicating that the government is involved in this. And do you know the dangers it passes when a government gets involved in these kinds of hatred? It's better for it to happen by citizens alone without the government. But when it involves the government, how do you want other governments to treat you? There is a lot of Chinese in Africa. And by the way, China has got over 1.3 billion in population. And not only that, China has got an accommodation crisis right now. It's overpopulated and is looking for new lands in Africa to overpopulate with its two-child policy. Yet today, they are mistreating a handful, a very small number of Africans in China.
Workers step up testing for imported infections. The African Union, Nigeria and Ghana are calling on the Chinese government to address concerns. Professor Keith Richberg is the director of the Journalism and Media Studies Centre at the University of Hong Kong. He says there has been discrimination against Africans living in China for some time now.
Ever since Xi Jinping announced that the virus was essentially contained in China and that they could start reopening businesses and reopening factories, the numbers have been going up, but they've been blaming all of those new numbers, those new cases, and the new deaths in China on what they call imported cases, meaning that they've contained it in China, but people coming back into the country are bringing it along.
Very small number of Africans in China are being mistreated. Yet here on the mother African land, we've got a very huge number of Chinese people. And not only that, I can proudly assert that half of Chinese wealthy is African without a shade of doubt. Half of Chinese market is Africa. That's where they pass their manufactured goods to sell in Africa. And all along we have been proudly buying their products. All along we have been proudly treating China. But why have you chosen this route, China? What do you want Africa to do? How do you want Africa to treat you? I think if I was China personally, I was actually going to conduct a personal critical examination of this route that I have chosen. And if I to even go beyond that, we have rumors coming out of China intending to send vaccination, intending to send medication, intending to help Africa in as far as COVID-19 is concerned. So if you are mistreating Africans in China, do you want us to believe that the help that you are trying to forward to us is good, is of good intention? Do you want us to think that? We would definitely think that if you want to kill Africans there in China already, by sending that particular thing to Africa again, you intend nothing but to kill us. And do you think we are going to receive that? Because this one has gone actually clear worldwide that it's not conspiracies, it's not lies, it's the truth that the Chinese people, including the Chinese government itself, is involved in the mistreatments of Africans. And the good thing is that it is only mentioned Africans. This lady on SABC is actually saying it clearly that these other nationalities in China are not being mistreated. She stays close here, her neighbors are Russian, but they are not being mistreated. It's only on Africans. So what does that mean? What message are you sending to the world? What message are you in particular sending to Africa? Protect other people's children if you want your children to be protected by them. You children of China, you Chinese children, treat other children from another mother the way you want to be treated. The problem with such kinds of people who mistreat others in their nations, I don't think Chinese people who have been to Africa, I don't think Chinese people who have been to America, Europe and so forth have this kind of habit of treating other people. Unless if they don't have a mind to think. Usually the problem with living in a cocoon for a long time is that you don't always understand the world beyond China, the world beyond your confines, and you think that's all there is to it, not knowing that the wealth you are enjoying in your country right now has come a long way from other nations that you are mistreating. So stop thinking inside the box, think outside that box, and come to realize that the habits that you think are very simple can give you grave consequences. Because so far, the entire Africa is not happy about Chinese attitude. The whole continent of Africa is not happy. If you see an extent whereby the African Union sends a message to the group of ambassadors to talk to the Chinese government with regards to this, you should understand that Africa is not happy. And the people in Nigeria, those ones, they are very good at responding very fast, has begun to do some reactions. So what if the whole of African continent begin to cooperate? Don't create problems for yourselves. Africa is not stupid. Africa is just a kind of people who have got the spirit of Ubuntu, who know that every human being created in God's image is important. Africans are not stupid, but they are tolerant. But the problem of Africa is one. If they are tolerant with you for a long time and you do not want to change yourself, you will face the consequences. So please, China, create your problems and be able to solve them. If you are not able to solve them, don't create them. You may have power in your country, but you can never have power over the world. The world and all there is in it belongs to God. You can only afford to own China, but you can't afford to own the entire world. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Comment in the section below and let's hear your opinion with regards to this upheaval. Thank you very much, and don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment. Do you know what happens especially when you hit a like? Smash that button. Why? Because it boosts the YouTube algorithm for other people to see these kind of messages if they are of importance to you. And together, let's build Africa. Africa, let's never be silent when it comes to these kind of issues. We are one people. Thank you.